We're back with it.
Time for the stranger. Welcome to another episode of Dear Stranger.
Whoop whoop.
Squale.
So for this new episode, what the heck? Alright.
Scoop.
Take a look up in the mirror. You gotta see a little clearer. Who's that woman looking right back? And she's a beauty queen.
Hi guys.
Hey guys.
Welcome to
Dear Stranger. Da-da-da-da. I'm your host, Naima.
And I'm your host, Jamila. So for this new episode, we wanted to kind of piggyback from our topic last week, which was trauma and what trauma leads us to do. One of the things that for us to cope with trauma that we want to talk about here today is when we turn to substance.
Ooh. Yeah.
Which is drugs and alcohol that we tend to drown ourselves in to cope with the trauma, to forget about the problem, and so on and so forth. So let's get right to it.
No, but let's not get right to it. Hold on. Skirt. We don't really rehearse for this, okay? So we're just kind of going raw and organic. Before we go right to it, girl, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, actually. It's a little, this time of the year, it's always overwhelming because of the holidays and all the preparations and stuff, but
yeah,
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people has been messaging me about my post last week.
Okay, yeah.
And saying, oh, how brave are you, and things like that. But that is something that I've been working on for so long. So I am actually doing okay.
Yeah.
To the fact that I did share that.
Yes.
So it's a milestone. It's a little step into the.
It's a big step.
Yes.
Because that's the initiative, right?
Yes. And we want everybody to be able to get to that point. We understand you're not going to come out and just say, yes, I was molested or I was sexually abused, and
right.
Because you saw one video. It's just to kind of initiate or to kind of promote the fact that it is okay to talk. It is okay to say it. It is okay. Don't keep it inside you. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take some time to get there.
Yeah.
For me, it took 36 years. So,
which, to add to that, it's I feel you said do work on yourself.
Yes.
And I feel like that's what brought you here. Mm-hmm. Also, having this moment to be able to share it for a good cause. Mm-hmm. But before you got here, you started the work with yourself.
With myself,
with
yes.
your therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Your therapist would be so proud of you, girl.
I actually went to my therapy last week, and I told her, I was like, I said it. I did it. I said it, and I don't regret it.
Oh.
She was like, I am extremely proud of you. And she told me to share the when it airs out, and which I'm going to do. But it's something that she's been trying to get me to do for a while.
Right.
And I said I can't do it because she told me to pick one person that I trust, that I can talk to.
Yeah.
And then talk about it and see how I felt.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I kept going back. I said, I can't. I don't even know how to initiate that conversation.
So let me ask you. So no one really knew, even that, or
no one knew.
No one at all,
No. Everybody find out on air.
Oh, and people are still watching.
Yes. So there's more people to see it. There's more people to find out. So, yeah.
I just have so much questions. I tried so hard not to ask you questions off camera, so everything is organic and here. So, girl, I'm just gonna ask you, okay?
That's why we're here, to be transparent and lay it out there.
Oh, girl, okay.
Because when you share things like that, everything comes with questions. A lot of people has a million plus one questions. I am waiting for those questions to come from family members, from friends.
Right.
And I had prepped myself up to this for that.
And I was gonna ask you, right? By sharing that, are you expecting anything in return? Like, what? How do you feel internally?
No, I'm not. Just to kind of answer that question, I'm not expecting anything in return.
Okay.
My whole thing is when I share that is to let people know that you don't have to wait 36 years, however long I waited, to say something, because it's something that it eats you alive.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't tell anybody. And you want to tell people, and then when you hear people talking about that certain person, that certain somebody, and you want to be like, this person is an a-hole, this person is this person is this,
a-hole.
but you can't, like, something's holding you back. That is the reason why I shared it, because
this person is not everything you think this person is.
We have a fear in us. It's in us. It's not even about the person itself, about the other person. It's us. We have a fear of like being, I don't know, we bring shame to the family, or we're bringing, I don't even know. But it's a fear that we have in us. That is why we don't talk about things.
Okay. See, I'm glad that you said that, because, the goal of this is to be raw and organic, but I feel like to tell my story, I can't be too raw and organic, because there are characters involved that I care deeply about, that I don't know if they're ready to hear my story. And also, how do you break things down? When is the appropriate time? Because you might have the strength to do something, but how fast should you go forward with your decision? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know when it's time for you to share. Like, deep down, you know. And like I explained last week, I'm not going to mention any names. That person know who he is. And the other person that was also involved know who she is.
Right.
That is her trauma. That is her experience to come and talk about, if she was to ever talk about it. You know what I mean? So as far as for me, it was a lot of healing. It was a lot of work, internal. And it wasn't easy. It hasn't been easy dealing with that, especially like around family members that like mentions the person's name. So I lived with that. That's why a lot of the times I dissociate myself from a lot of people that I know can lead me back to that.
Right.
So it's part of the process of processing the trauma that we have.
How old were you when you came to America?
I was 7.
You were 7? Okay. All right. So was it a long period, if you don't mind me asking, was it a long period of this happening, or did it just happen?
So it was like it constantly happened, like weeks after weeks. And because we used to live in like one city. I don't know if we called it a city
or a town. A town maybe?
In Cape Verde. And then when we moved out of there, that's when it stopped. We moved to a whole new house. And that's when that stopped. And then it took a couple years living at that new house for my mother to like came to America. And then we moved again to our grandmother's house. When we left to come to the United States, I never looked back. And it, like right now, I still have some healing to do. I don't want to go back to my own island because of that. And I don't know if I ever will. You know, and a lot of people don't understand why I don't go back there. I can go to all the 9 other islands in Cape Verde, but that. And that is because I lived the trauma there that I don't want to go back to.
See, because I had posted something a long time ago, right? And it was something like encouraging like Cape Verdeans to be like, don't forget where you come from. You know, like come to America, do what you have to do, but don't forget about your island and your treasures, right? And somebody had commented, they posted it on the CV Beautiful People page, and somebody had commented and said, well, you're so proud of Cape Verde, and yeah, you have to go back. But it's like, I took a step back and I was like, okay, how do I respond to this? Because this person doesn't know me personally. They don't know my trauma. So then I went on to explain, like, well, first of all, I came when I was 9. I came in 2000. I didn't go back because the opportunity didn't present itself. My dad, every time he went, he only brought my brother because his mom was still there. My mom wasn't there. I didn't really have to go back. And when I became an adult, I traveled to different parts of the world but Cape Verde because I'm here as an adult. I'm dealing with the trauma and I'm not ready to face where the trauma happened yet. So going back there, it's going to require like a different level of healing.
It does.
Because to be able to step a foot, I think the moment I step a foot in Cape Verde, it's gonna hit me. And how am I going to react? I really truly feel like I would have to take an army with me.
Yeah,
because
so it's a different set of healing, and I can personally say I'm not there yet to be able to go to my island. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong there. Like, I have family members still there. It's not that I don't want to go to my island because I'm too good or whatever the case it is. Or
Right.
I go to every other island, but that's not what it is.
At least you've been.
It's what I have to deal with and what I have to like heal from in order for me to be like, okay, because I know for certain that certain person is still there. So like for me to go there, it's gonna take
a lot of strength for you not to snap.
And I don't know if I'm there yet. And I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm not there yet. Like, if you give me a ticket right now to go to Fogo, and I'm going to be like, I'll pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's just, there's nothing wrong with going to Fogo. It's just me internally, I can't do it.
Well, there is something wrong in you to face. You don't want to face the root of your trauma, because that's the root. Oh, and that's the,
but eventually the part of the healing is to face the is to face that. It's to face your trauma. It's to face what's good. That's what's going to help you heal completely. But it's a step by step. It's a process that is a step by step. And unfortunately, I'm not at that stage yet.
Right.
So it's and the way I feel about it, I feel good. I feel good that I shared it, and I hope some people can look at this and say, I think it's time for me to talk. I think it's time for me to share.
And to piggyback off of what you're saying, you think it's time. We also want to be able to invite anybody that wants to tell their story. Like, I feel like if you agree, Dear Stranger is a podcast where if you don't have the backup and you don't have the strength to, and you want to just to be able to come on the show and sit down and talk, we're not talking about being messy at all. But if you want to have a voice, we're here for you.
Yes.
We want to hear your story.
And there's a platform for you. This is a platform. You want to open it up to other girls, not just the two of us sitting here talking all the time.
Right.
Because eventually you guys are going to get bored and be like, I don't want to listen to those girls anymore.
Right.
But
hopefully that's not the case, girl.
But eventually, we want to be able to open it up to people like, all right, here is my story. I want to be able to share it to the world. It doesn't have to be sexually assaulted or anything like that. It could be anything that you're faced, like that you faced, that you've gone through, that you feel like it's time for you to speak up. So we're here.
Okay, so girl, we're supposed to be talking about trauma leading to.
I know.
Well, this is good though. This is so good because, all right, since you're already on the road of telling your story, what led you, if anything? Do you have any substance? Have you become addicted to anything? How do you want to bridge that?
So for me, I can say that sometimes I do overdo an alcohol, like when I'm mad or when something is triggering me to remind me of my past trauma, or when I get into like a heated argument with somebody, I tend to like turn to alcohol to be like, because that character is a different character, is not a person, is a person I want to be at the time of the argument that I can't let out. But when I'm drinking, it brings out a different person. It brings out a person that talks, that open their mouth and talk more than ever. But at the same time, it brings out kind of like a stupid me. You know what I mean? Because under the influence of anything, of alcohol, drugs, or anything, we tend to do a lot of things to ourselves to jeopardize ourselves, and without even thinking. Because when you're under the influence, you're not thinking. You're really not thinking. So you just write out whatever it is that comes to mind, you're going to do it. So you're not thinking straight. You are thinking, but you're not thinking straight.
I've made so many out of character. I've acted out of character so many times and made so many out of character decisions while drinking. That's why I had to stop. It hit me that I had to become an alcoholic when I went to the mental hospital and they had like a AA meeting that was part of the routine. And all the other people that were there was mainly drugs. They were there because of drug addiction. And they turned to me, they're like, so what's your drug of choice? I said, excuse me? Do I look like I got a drug problem? My drug of choice? Do I look like I do heroin or anything like that? Yeah, it opened up my eyes because I'm like, my drug of choice? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't do drugs. They're like, well, do you drink? I said, yeah, but I don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Well, me and you are not the same.
Alcohol is drug.
Girl, I gotta... They said alcohol is a drug of choice. I said, oh, okay. It woke me up. It slapped me right in the face because I was like, dang, like, I've become that person. Like, it hit my soul so hard. Because, like, if you ask Armando, the beginning, like, way when I was younger, I never used to drink at all. And I never used to drink because I used to see my grandfather, like, drunk. Like, I saw him fall from the third piso, like the third floor of our house in Cape Verde, and hit right on the ground, like right in front of the floor, and get up like nothing happened. And when I used to see him throw up everywhere, like he would get so drunk and be all over the place. And I was like, I will never be that. And guess what? I became that. When Heather passed away, and then after Jonas passed away, oh my God, child. It was so bad to the point where I would wake up in the middle of the night. I would drink and numb myself to the point where I would wake up and it's so embarrassing to talk about, but here I am to be honest.
Or being transparent.
I would wake up in the middle of the night on the floor, and to my last consciousness, I went to bed, but I would wake up in the middle of the night on the floor. And I'm like, how did I get on the floor? All wet. That is so embarrassing. Like, oh, girl, I've been... Ooh.
Yeah, and it's... just to piggyback from what you said about like alcohol being a drug, a lot of people don't realize that alcohol is a drug. Because it's sold at the liquor store. There's 1 billion plus one liquor store out there. It's not, there's all of these drugs that's out in the street, they are prescribed drugs. So they are drugs that it's good for something, but it's the same as alcohol. And we buy them and we consume them, and it consumes us.
Yeah, that's what it did. It's fun at first, because Armando's like, you never used to drink, now you're taking shots, like, you know. And I was like, I used to drink like grape, like wine that tastes like grape juice. And from shots it started to, you know, become, from wine it became shots, and then it started consuming me. before I knew it. And when I was saying like I did out of character things, like people would tell me things that I've done while I was out of it, blacked out, and I was like, there's no way I did that. I did that. Like one time, like Armando was like, oh, you acted this way, like you were just so mean to me, you were laughing. Like when I tell you I woke up the next morning, I don't remember I did that ever. And then for like my closest thing to me is like when my daughter used to tell me, Mommy, you're so sloppy. Like she didn't call it sloppy, she called it, you were wobbly. She says wobbly. Like it would just like hurt me so hard because it's her saying it now.
Yeah, she saw it.
Like she saw it. And it's like, I said I would never be this person, and now here I am, this person. Like what got me here? Like, you know,
trauma.
Like
We'll
what
go
got
back to the trauma. Sometimes a lot of the times, while we overconsume alcohol and drugs, is because of our trauma. It's because we're trying to forget something. So why wouldn't I use a drug? Why wouldn't I use an alcohol to forget about being raped? Why wouldn't I do that?
It never started like that though, you know? And it's like, I feel like a lot of times too, where
it starts slowly, and then it's gonna come to a point, or okay, I can use the drug and alcohol to forget about my problems. So now that's when it's gonna become a problem.
Yeah.
So you're gonna indulge yourself in alcohol, in drugs, to forget about, okay, I don't want to deal with problems. It's putting a period to your problem, and then you enhancing yourself in a whole different world. You're a whole different person, but that you forget about everything else that happened, or that is going on, or that's happening.
That person, like, when I tell you, like, I came to a point where I did not like myself because of the way I was behaving. I hated myself. I would do things that it wasn't me, because like you said, when you drink, it's like it gives you like a push, a boost.
It gives you wings.
Girl, there you go.
You think you can fly, but then it's like, how hard can you fly? Like how
high?
How high can you fly? You know what I mean? And then you fly high, but eventually you're gonna have to come down. The higher you go, the stronger it is to fall.
Yeah.
And and that's how a lot of people becomes an alcoholic and becomes a drug addict, because they're trying to forget about being molested, forget about being raped, forget about being beat up, or whatever trauma it is that you lived.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of ladies out there that lived in fear of being with a man, because their last relationship was, they were getting beat up every day by their partners. So
Absolutely.
They live in fear, and that fear is their trauma. And a lot of like, for them not to feel that fear, they turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, and the more you consume it, the more you become dependent on it.
Yeah.
It's just like coffee.
Girl, stop playing, because I love coffee.
For some of us, we can't get up in the morning and not have coffee. We'll have a migraine from here to, and it's gonna take a few days, sometimes weeks, to get that out of your system.
Yeah.
And it's the same with drugs and alcohol. Once you're an alcoholic, or once you're an addict, you always have that title.
Yeah.
But it's how you recover from that.
Right.
And okay, what are the work? Now I have to do double the work. I have to work on my alcoholic problem or on my drug problems, and then I have the trauma, the depression, the anxiety that I also have to work on.
And then you got to work on yourself, because you got to work on self-love, so then you don't have to fall in the hole into all of that.
Yes.
Oh Lord, healing is a journey.
It is a journey, and it's a constant journey. It's an everyday journey.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's times that I get up, and then I don't want to get out of bed. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do this today.
Yeah.
But that's where self-love comes in.
Yeah.
Get out of bed, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I got this.
Right. Yeah.
And whatever it is that I'm dealing with, like I turn to prayers for myself. A lot of people, they have meditation.
Yeah.
And there's like, or people listen to music.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
has their own thing,
Yeah.
way of like, all right, I'm going to get out of this.
Right,
It's
yeah.
all about finding your coping mechanism.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so you don't turn to like, okay, I don't feel like doing this today. I'm feeling this way. I'm going to go out and buy some drugs from somebody.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to
But
go
that's
out
so
to
much-
the liquor store. And
That's so much like the easiest route.
it is. It's
You
the
know.
easier route instead of putting the work, because you're constantly working on your healing, on your recovery.
Right.
It's an everyday journey.
Right. Yeah.
And once you're faced with that, it's hard. It's a battle that you're going to have to go through in life for maybe for the rest of your life. You're healed. You have, like, healing, there's a lot of pieces to healing.
But okay, like for you, where did you pick up the like? How did you decide like, okay, this is the first piece I need to work on?
For me, my healing process in the beginning was all over the place.
Okay.
I didn't know what, where to pick, why I was doing this, why I was jeopardizing relationships with, you name it.
Okay.
And so when I started therapy, my therapist told me, like, what is it that you want to work on?
Ooh.
And
Jamila said
then
all the above.
I said, I don't know, we'll be here all day.
Right.
And I said, I think I need to work on, like, self-care,
Okay.
caring about myself,
Uh-huh.
and then pull the pieces together.
Okay.
Once I started doing things for me,
Okay.
I started journaling, I started praying, I started like listening to music, like, because those are all the things that like helps me. And
Okay.
then I go on like
Did you
dinner
switch
dates with my friends. And
in any point of that? Did you ever switch your environment? Was environment ever a big part of it? Friends, people, like things, situations, like did any of that contribute to your healing?
To be honest, not really.
Okay.
I'm always the type of person that, like, I don't push things, I don't force things.
Okay.
Like, you want to be in my life, good. If you don't want to be in my life, that's okay. There's stuff that, like, I know will trigger, like, my trauma that, like, I'll stay away from.
Yeah.
Like I spoke about in the last podcast, the showers.
Oh, right.
And that, like, I don't really do well with showers. And
Locker room shower, particularly
yes.
for those that are watching that hasn't watched the other one.
if you haven't watched the other one, go watch the other one so you can understand this one.
Because Jamila dropped a bomb and then she dropped the mic and like she was just like, okay, here you go. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so I had to do the work for me.
Right.
And so once I started the self-care, okay, I'm able to be not just a mother,
Okay.
not just a wife.
Right.
I need to be me.
Right.
I need to do things for me. I need to do things that I like to do.
Right.
When my therapist first asked me, like, what do you do for fun? I looked at her and I said, I don't know. Cooking,
Go home and cook.
cleaning.
Right.
I don't know. And she was like, but like, what do you do that you enjoy?
Joy.
And then she was like, okay, let's break it down. What do you do that you only do it for you?
Right.
I said, I don't know, work. She goes, well, you're not really working
Girl.
for you. And so she was like,
work.
is there anything that you do? I was like, well, I go to church.
Right.
I
right.
participate in the
Choir.
In the choir,
Yeah.
and I lead services. And then she was like, okay, so how is that? Why are you doing that?
Right. Yeah.
And then I was like, I do that for me. Me participating in church and being active in church is what I do for me. And that is what's helping me a lot with my healing.
It's a basis, a foundation. It's grounding for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
There's nothing wrong with that girl.
So for me, that's what it is. You need to find things that you can do for yourself.
Absolutely.
And I started, like, going out for dinner with my friends instead of my family. Those are the things that, like, it's important. Because in any relationship, even a relationship of mothering, whatever, you need to be able to separate yourself from that relationship and say, okay, I'm doing things for me. You kids, husband,
y'all go sit over there.
You need to do things for yourself because it's healthy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, like, and you build in a better foundation in order for you to heal. So that is how I started with putting the pieces together by doing self-care.
Yeah.
A lot of self-care.
Yeah. I like that you said that because I had mentioned people, places, and things because that goes hand to hand with let's rewind a little bit. Okay, trauma, depression. Now you're starting to use substances. Now you're deep in a hole. How do you get out, right? And self-care is very important.
It is.
And I feel like that's number one. Start is to choose you.
It is.
Make a decision that you're going to get better. And now, in my opinion, please share your opinion if you may. I feel like choosing you, for you, it wasn't a lot of that. If I could reflect, and for other people, environment wasn't a thing for you because you had a safe environment. You had a beautiful environment. Yeah. For me, I had to drop it down low friends and choose, I want to say other friends, but I don't have a big circle of friends, but I had to drop a lot of people that I was just having fun with, an environment that allowed me to bury myself, which was going to the club, partying, going out. And I had to revert and pick friends that are now can cry with me and pray for me. And when I looked to the left, I had nobody but you and Lucy. You know what I mean? And it was just a big reality check because now it's time to switch because I can't heal if alcohol is my problem. And I remember that one time you and Lucy had to barge yourself into my house. It was like days into laying in bed, and you had to barge into my house and remove the alcohol out of my presence. And you had found me, please correct me if I'm wrong, I was literally naked on the floor, like crying to God, like, how am I here right now?
Yeah.
Because where were those friends that I was just throwing it back with? You know what I mean?
They're not there.
I feel like the fact that you disrupted my environment really was a reset for me, because I wasn't going to reset my environment, or disrupt it. And it just really, like, I feel like after that, I kind of was like, okay, Nema, you got work to do. Like, you got a lot of work to do. You got to think about the people in your life. You got to think about your environment. And you're just going to have to start stripping away. And like you said, prayer was for you. And I felt like that moment that I had with God, crying, really, like, he heard me. Because where I am in life right now, he is stripping. And he's stripping. And stripping doesn't feel pretty, and it doesn't look pretty.
It doesn't.
And a lot of times that's what we have to do. And it's so good that environment wasn't a play for you, and that's easier for you to be able to maneuver, even though putting ourselves first is a lot. For a lot of you guys, environment, people, places, and things might be something that you have to consider to take that first step of healing and putting yourself first, because if you deal with a lot of substance abuse, you have to consider who's in your circle.
Yeah, and how can you move on? And that might take some time too, removing yourself from that environment. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you're comfortable with and that you're okay with being in there. Okay, it's working for me for now, but you got to think of it in the long term.
Yeah.
Is it going to work for me in the long term? Is indulging myself in alcohol going to work for me 10 years from now?
The self-reflection.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's all about looking at yourself, looking at what it is that you want, because we all have a goal. Like, we all have dreams.
Yeah.
Like, what we gonna do with ourselves.
Oh, don't even start, girl.
And sometimes in the process, we tend to like get lost. We're like, all right, what happened to like you finishing school? Oh no, that's in the back burner for now. Why can't you do that now?
It starts affecting everything, you know? Like, I remember telling my therapist, I was like, damn, Niel, I used to be such a person that I was such a visionary person. Like, you know, outgoing, motivated, like, you know, I used to be it. And now I look at myself now, I'm drowning myself. Like, I wake up and I drink, throughout the day I'm drinking. Like, I could not function without numbing myself.
Yeah.
And the moment I became that person that was like, no vision, no motivation, no nothing, I had to look for Adderall to give me motivation. Ooh, that was such an ugly person, John.
Yeah.
And I had to strip all that.
Yeah, and it like you have to become raw again.
Started to dream again.
Yeah, so it's gonna take some work, because you're gonna have to like detox from all of that.
Oh, those
And
detoxes.
that process is not pretty. It's not pretty.
And a lot of people aren't willing to go through that because it's not pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially like detoxing from alcohol is one of the worst detox ever. And
Didn't you have like seizure or something?
yeah,
I never
you can
experienced
have-
anything
yeah,
like that.
but
I was
that's
able
when you
to
like
do it.
really, really deep into your alcohol disorder.
Yeah.
And you
Praise
like
God.
many years of drinking. Like,
Okay.
some people like have liver failure and
Right.
etc. They like it
Right.
comes down to that. But you need to be able to do the work. If you can get, I tell people all the time, because I work with alcoholics and
Yeah.
drug addicts. I tell them all the time, if you guys can get through detox, you guys can get through this. There is a way out.
Yeah.
And one challenge that I have for all of you guys that's watching us is for you to look at yourself in the mirror and talk to that dear stranger that you have in front of the mirror,
Yes.
and reflect on it and say to that person, am I where I need to be? What do I need to do to better myself? And what do I need to do to get to where I need to get? Look at yourself in the mirror, and trust me, a lot of the times your answer is right there. It's right in front of you and you don't see it.
Hello.
What else do we
Girl, that was a lot. Like, there's just so much to it. We're trying not to be all over the place
know.
with it. Because I feel like I'm just going in circle and sharing a lot of the stuff, and I want to talk about different stuff, but it's a start. And like Jess said, a lot of girls have hit her up, and same, and it's like we want to be able to be a backbone to you guys, and we just want to listen sometimes. Tell us your stories. You know, message us. We want to hear more, because when I got those messages, like, I was feeling so down, and it uplifted me to remind me that, hey, keep going, you know. And we had recorded 2 episodes before it aired, so we're just getting the messages now that the 2 episodes are out, and it's so encouraging.
It is.
To be able to talk more, because I'm not perfect and I'm not striving to be perfect,
Same here.
but I want to be healed, so I'm not hurting people
Yes.
that I love, people that I care for.
I listen to this music often, and towards the end of the song, it says, "Hurt people hurt people,"
Absolutely.
and that is true. If you are not healed and you're hurt, unfortunately, you're gonna hurt people that you care about, that you love, that doesn't deserve to be hurt, but you do. and that it's a topic for the next time. Hurt people, hurt people, and how we've hurt people in the past, and how betrayal and all of that comes into play. So that is a topic for the next time. So stay tuned.
Oh man, I don't even know how to end this. I have so much that I want to talk about. No, I don't want to bore you guys to death, you know. But not bore them to death, but you know, we don't want it to be too long. But it's just so juicy.
Yes. So
subscribe, like, share, comment.
You never know, by one click, by sharing, you're able to like reach somebody that's vulnerable. Or that might have a bottle of vodka on their hand, drowning themselves. So
ready to do that, you know, make that crazy dumb decision.
So click, share, like, subscribe. We're here.
We love you.
We love you guys. Thank you.
Stay tuned for the next episode. Mwah.
Stay tuned.
Okay, cut it, girl. This is too much.